There she was. The kind of woman who radiated that unmistakable energy like she spent her days running a local Facebook group dedicated to snitching on teenagers loitering near gas stations. Her platinum blonde hair was teased into a rigid, helmet-like style that probably hadn't moved since 2003. Lips pursed tighter than an unopened TSA lock. She strutted into Gate D14 at Atlanta Hartsfield like she owned the place, one hand clutching her oversized designer tote with monogrammed initials, the other wielding her phone like a weapon of bureaucratic war. The scent of lavender essential oils and unearned superiority trailed behind her like a cloud of judgmental fog. Her name? Not Karen, but close enough. Meet Meredith Baines, Delta Diamond Platinum Prestige, or whatever title she'd invented for herself to feel powerful. She had already stirred the pot by loudly demanding to speak with the gate agent after discovering that someone else had been allowed to pre-board before her. That someone was Jasona Kam, quiet former Navy pilot turned commercial captain. He wasn't flying this leg, but had been rerouted due to a storm and was now traveling standby. None of that mattered to Meredith. What she cared about was control. And the second her eyes landed on the Labrador curled neatly by Jason's feet, the full force of her HOA president alter ego snapped into action. "Excuse me," she barked, voice pinched and theatrical, "that dog is sitting where I'm supposed to be. I'm allergic. That cannot be legal." The gate agent, a worn-out but unflappable woman named Chandra, had clearly already aged a decade that morning. Without missing a beat, she explained that the dog wearing a certified blue service vest was Jason's registered service animal and both were fully within their rights to pre-board. Meredith, of course, wasn't having it. She thrust her phone forward like it was a courtroom exhibit. "I'm recording this for my protection," she announced, positioning the lens dramatically toward Jason and the dog. Jason didn't flinch. He just gave a small smirk and stroked the Labrador's head. "Great," he said coolly. "Maybe zoom in on the ADA compliance signage behind me while you're at it." That only enraged her further. She pivoted from fake legal authority to wounded victimhood faster than a late-night infomercial. "This is discrimination. What about my rights? I am being forced to inhale dog dander." Her voice climbed an octave with every syllable, bouncing around the terminal like a fire alarm no one could turn off. Passengers exchanged looks. A businessman with a latte muttered, "Oh boy. We've got ourselves a Meredith." A teenager sitting nearby whispered, "Please let this go viral," as she subtly started filming behind her boarding pass. The Labrador named Scout, of course, shifted one paw, blinked lazily, and resumed being utterly unbothered. Then Meredith went for the guilt card. "I lost my Yorkie last year. This is deeply traumatic," she claimed with zero hesitation. "I have asthma, PTSD, and seasonal sensitivity syndrome." Chandra blinked slowly. "Ma'am, that last one's not a real thing." "How dare you?" Meredith huffed. "I'm a paying customer." "So is he," Chandra replied, nodding toward Jason, who casually held up his boarding pass and pilot's badge. That's when the first crack formed in Meredith's facade. "Wait, you're a pilot?" she asked, now syrupy sweet, head tilted like she was about to offer a muffin basket. "A real one?" "Yes," Jason said, straightening to his full height, a quiet authority radiating from every inch. "I just flew 178 passengers through a lightning storm over Montana. But sure, let's make this about your imaginary allergy." Meredith paused, calculating her next move. "If you're not flying this plane, then why are you boarding early?" "Because the airline allows veterans with service animals to pre-board. It's called compassion," Jason said, deadpan. "You should Google it." Chandra choked on a laugh. The teen filming let out a tiny, triumphant yes. But Meredith wasn't done. "I have a doctor's note for my emotional support aromatherapy candle," she declared, eyes wide with conviction. "Why don't I get to pre-board?" A businessman nearby spit coffee as he burst out laughing. Then Meredith demanded the dog be placed in the cargo hold. Scout gave his first vocal reaction of the entire encounter, a short, incredulous chuff. "He's more qualified to be on this flight than you are," Jason said, not raising his voice, just speaking facts. By now, the flight attendants were peeking over from the service area, one muttering, "She's going to be a middle seat meltdown. I can feel it." Then Meredith pivoted to screeching about HIPAA. "That's not how HIPAA works," Chandra sighed. Jason chuckled. "If I had $1 for every time someone misquoted HIPAA in public, I'd own a fleet." When boarding was called, Meredith made one final power play. She tried to physically wedge herself into the priority lane ahead of Jason. "Out of my way, dogman," she sneered, hip-checking Scout's leash. That's when Scout calmly stood and blocked her path, not aggressively, just like a golden wall of judgment and patience. "Is this an attack?" she shrieked. "This dog assaulted me." "Lady, the dog's got better manners than you," someone called out. A ripple of chuckles followed. Chandra picked up her clipboard. "Looks like you've been reassigned to the back row," she said sweetly. "Middle seat, no window, next to the lavatory." "But I'm Diamond Plus," Meredith gasped. "And he," Chandra said, gesturing to Jason, "deserves basic human decency. But here we are." Jason and Scout walked onto the plane in perfect sync, calm and composed. Meredith, fuming, boarded moments later with the energy of a courtroom drama where she was both the victim and the prosecutor. She stormed toward row 34B like it had personally insulted her. Her seatmatestuo, unsuspecting newlyweds wearing matching, just mauied shirts visibly recoiled as she wedged herself into the middle seat with all the grace of a folding lawn chair. 10 minutes after takeoff, she was pressing the flight attendant call button like it owed her money. "I demand to speak with the captain," she announced when Carmen, a flight attendant with 5 red ice under her belt that week, approached. "Is there an emergency?" Carmen asked. "That dog is staring at me," Meredith hissed, pointing down the aisle. Scout, half asleep, blinked once. "He's trained to remain alert even when resting," Carmen said. "You mean he's awake on purpose?" "That's targeted harassment." The honeymooners looked ready to request parachutes. Meredith activated her phone flashlight to document the visual intimidation. "I'm sending this to PETA. Maybe even Joe Rogan." "We're at 30,000 feet, ma'am," Carmen replied. "The best I can offer is ginger ale." "I will cause a scene," Meredith snapped. "Oh, I know," Carmen sighed. "I'm just trying to delay it." Jason, sensing the energy shift, turned. Scout sat a little straighter. Jason gave a subtle nod to Carmen, who responded with the universal flight attendant grimace. "Not yet, but we're getting close." Then Meredith unbuckled, defying the seatbelt sign, and stood. "I'm going to the cockpit," she declared, "to file a canine aggression report." Carmen blocked her path like a defensive lineman. "Sit down. Or what? You'll call air jail." The radio crackled. "Cabin crew to row 34, came the calm voice of Troy, the lead attendant. Troy arrived like a tall glass of FAA compliance. "Ma'am," he said gently, "I understand you're having a crisis of reality." "I'm being discriminated against," Meredith shouted. "You're definitely something," muttered the groom beside her. Troy smiled. "Return to your seat and enjoy your pretzels. Or I can begin documentation." "Your call." "That dog is probably the captain," she grumbled. "No, ma'am," Jason called out. "I'm just the guy who flew a 747 through a thunderstorm while you were yelling at a Starbucks barista." Muffled laughter filled the cabin. Meredith slumped in her seat but began muttering into her phone, live streaming. "I'm being harassed by a military man and his golden retriever. This is how veterans treat civilians." Even Scout rolled his eyes in dog language, of course. Then, from behind her, a woman tapped Meredith's shoulder. "Rebecca Baines?" she asked. Meredith turned, defensive. "Yes. I work for American Express Risk Division. You called last month to sue us over an emotional support hedgehog, remember?" Gasps erupted. "Wait," said the bride, "she faked service animals?" 3 claims in a month, the rep confirmed. A duck, a poodle, and a ferret. All denied. "You threatened to go viral on my niece." Meredith was now visibly sweating. "I didn't lie," she said weakly. "Maybe my therapist said I needed a dog. Or maybe to stop lying about dogs." Jason stood. "So you tried to have my service dog removed for your own fraudulent upgrade?" Scout gave a disappointed sigh. Troy returned, manifest in hand. "Our ops desk confirmed. 2 ADA claims, both denied. A duck named Pesto and a poodle named Nelson." "That duck was essential," Meredith shouted. Someone laughed so hard their soda sprayed. "Lady, I've had hangovers more legit than your diagnosis." A marshal in row 9 stood. "Security concern confirmed," he said calmly. "You can't do this." "I'm a mother," she screamed. Carmen leaned in. "Not today. Today you're a cautionary tale. The landing couldn't come soon enough." As the wheels touched down, Carmen's voice came over the intercom. For your safety, please remain seated until the authorities meet our special guest at the gate. Meredith froze. Jason walked off calmly, Scout at his side. You could have watched a rom-com and sipped ginger ale, he said over his shoulder. Instead, you live-streamed your own downfall. Applause erupted behind him. As federal officers met the plane, Meredith tried to blend into her seat. But it was too late, because the only thing louder than her screams was Scout's silence. The golden retriever never barked once. And that was the loudest message of all.